Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right. Once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you very much for your continued support of a platform that is dedicated to industrial professionals all around the world. You are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you collaborate, you solve problems, you're making the world a better place. And we are broadcasting, if you could tell by the buzz in the background, we are broadcasting on-site. SMRP 31 years SMRP this has been putting on this conference, and it doesn't disappoint. Put this on your calendar for next year. Go out to smrp.org. That's smrp.org. Find out more. They have great training, great opportunities to collaborate with incredible people like the one that is sitting in front of me. He's a legend. You might have heard him once before, twice before, 3 times before. He goes way back. George Williams, ReliabilityX, is in the house. Let's get cracking. Hey, buddy.
How you doing, Scott? Man, It is awesome to be here.
It is, man. It's always fun.
I so enjoy when you and I get the opportunity to sit down. I really do, thoroughly.
It's a great time. I got to tell you, I for me personally, it just seems like ever since COVID, it started, it was small, and then that was St. Louis, and then we went to Raleigh, and now we're here in Orlando. And what's great is it just seems like it's growing back. It's getting back to where it was.
Yeah, no doubt. The crowd is much larger. Matter of fact, the largest they've ever had, I think, this year. So
is it really?
It is. Yeah. They announced that this morning. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to SMRP. And if you're in the reliability space, do you need to be a part of SMRP?
1,000%.
There it is. Coming from a legend, George Williams, ReliabilityX. Just plugging your company again.
Do that as often as you like.
That's right. ReliabilityX. There goes your fan. One fan.
One.
All right. For the people that have just never heard your voice before, give us a little background on who you are.
Yeah, sure. My name's George Williams. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called ReliabilityX.
That's ReliabilityX.
And we're an empowerment company. I mean, that's what we do. We are a focused organization dedicated to allowing empowerment to happen, right? So inside a company, there's usually this declaration of empowerment by leadership. My people are empowered. But empowerment requires the people on the other end of that to be able to have the confidence to act on empowerment. In order to do that, they have to have the training and the experiences to build that confidence. And that's what we deliver.
As I continue to have these conversations with leaders like you, I've come to realize that really the problem, the challenges in the world of reliability is never the technology, it's always the people. It's always the leadership. It's always, and I'm not trying to slam it by any stretch of the imagination, but when you make declarations like, hey, you're empowered, what does that mean? Right. And there needs to be guidance, there needs to be training, there needs to be a sense of direction, and that's what ReliabilityX does?
It absolutely. So we term it a couple of different ways, but for us it's really operationalizing reliability. Reliability is not about the asset, and unfortunately, we've gone through years and decades of focusing on the asset, and it really isn't the asset. When we go into plants, it's very small portion of the issues deal with the actual assets. A vast majority of them deal with the empowerment of people to be exponentially successful for the organization. We still have reliability engineers here that are focused on what can their one individualized contribution do to improve the plant. And so they focus on the asset, they change its PMs, they add sensors, they do 1,000 things that are not empowering the broader organization. And so when you operationalize reliability, what you're doing is empowering the entire organization to focus on how they impact plant performance.
How do you, there's a couple of questions. One is going to be, it's always sustainable. Can it, sustain the long haul? Because you know as well as I do, leaders come and go.
Yes.
And passion wanes here and there, and different drivers, whatever it might be. Is this also part of that sustainable component associated with organizations in reliability.
Right. So there's three components to creating sustainability, right? There's the people piece, there's the systems piece, and the processes piece. And if I have great people and good process, but I lack systems, then all I have are frustrated people because the systems don't support what they do. If I have good people and great systems, but no process, I'm talent reliant. That means if people develop their own process and they're good at it, great. But I can't promote them because they're irreplaceable. So they're unpromotable. And so I'm talent reliant. And of course, if I have process and systems and I ignore people, I have total failure.
Yeah,
right. So it takes all three of those to be successful and to create sustainability.
Just for clarification, what is a system? I get the process, I get the people. Define systems in this conversation.
Yeah, systems is more than one facet, right? So you've got systems like the ERP and the CMMS system, the electronic pieces of system. But systems are also how the individual organizational silos interact, right? The systems within a plant. How does finance and procurement work? They're all systems within a plant's operation.
Take us through a scenario. I'm a company. I've been on the internet. Now I want to be reliable. I want to have my organization be reliable. And they call George and Team ReliabilityX to come in and do what? How do you approach that?
Yeah, the first thing we do is try to understand our organizational goals and try to understand what the organization is attempting to achieve at the plant level. Oftentimes there are, if you go to www.insertyourcompanynamehere.com/about-us, you figure out what the goals are. But there could be other business drivers, so you want to have a deep conversation.
Fluff stuff.
Right, you have to have a deeper conversation at the plant level around what the organizational goals are. For example, a lot of folks are focused on things like planning and scheduling, but they're not focused necessarily on effectiveness. They're trying to become efficient. They're trying to reduce headcount at the operational level. They're trying to do a lot of things like cut cost.
Yeah.
And we try to give a great explanation as to, like, how many businesses do you know that went into business to be the best at cutting cost?
None.
Right. You went into business to be profitable.
You went in to be efficient. Don't get me wrong. You want to be efficient,
right,
but not for the sake of cutting heads.
Right. So procurement gets this goal. We've got to cut costs. We've got to save money. So how does that get achieved if you're procurement? You have to negotiate cheaper pricing, which could lead to lower quality.
Yeah.
So we'll take a simple example. I've got a case erector, right? I make boxes. I'm a machine that makes boxes. If procurement is buying sub-quality corrugate that's going in the machine and it causes jams, is the machine fouling?
No.
Do I have a reliability problem?
Yeah.
Great, but it ain't the equipment.
No.
It's not the equipment. It's a people issue.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how people contribute to plant reliability. And we solve those issues.
But then again, you're saying to yourself, okay, I got to come on in. This company is interested in knowing what we can do to be more reliable, and you must have a conversation with the leadership team before you even begin to venture into the field, because you're going to have to get their buy-in. You're going to say, this is exactly what's going on. This is how we evaluated your business based off of this information, that information, and everything else in between. Do you ever go into doing an analysis of the working individuals that are out in the field and saying, here, let's do a little, let's have a conversation, and then report back to the leadership team and saying, hey, here you go.
If we're not listening to the shop floor, we're not doing our job.
You're not.
So that's our main focus, right? So we do two things during that evaluation process. One is to assess the plant's capability, what actual capacity is, as designed, not as their targets are, right?
Yeah.
The targets change because they can't operate at what design was. So I've got to look green, so we'll lower the targets.
Right.
We evaluate them based on design rates. And then we go out to the plant floor, we do time studies, talk to operators, talk to maintainers, and determine where we think the plant could get to. And then
so you go down this road. You're saying, okay, we're going through this process. And you've got to have an initial report.
Yes.
And you present that. once that is done and everybody shakes their head, yes.
Oh, they don't shake their head, yes. They go, there's no way you can achieve that.
Then what do you do?
Then I put my money where my mouth is.
And what does that mean? It's
and we exceed expectations.
No kidding.
Well, look at it
then
like this.
Then you must have metrics of saying, okay, we're going to make sure that this gets lower, this gets raised up, whatever.
Right. So our focus is improving OEE if it's a manufacturing plant that we're helping.
Right.
So we go in and you're the plant manager, and we come in and we evaluate your plant and tell you we can essentially double its output.
That's bold, baby.
Right. So initial response is no way.
I'm already saying no way.
Right. For two reasons. One, that potentially your ego gets in the way. Two, you would have to admit that you're terrible at running the plant.
It's true.
And so we have to convince them that somewhere in between zero and doubling your plant is a reality, right? And we come in and we solution that, and we do it regularly.
Okay, so do you put time on your successes? Like, okay, I'm tracking this, I'm doing this, I'm looking at this is going up, and that's great. This is going down, that's fantastic, and we're doing the right thing.
Yes.
Over a period of time, give us an example of when I can begin receiving value.
Within the first 4 weeks.
So there's that much inefficiencies and problems that exist there.
Yes.
I mean, right off the bat, I would say that's a plus.
Yeah, within the first 4 weeks. So we've not had a manufacturing client with a return on investment less than or over 9 months.
Really?
Yeah.
9 months?
9 months. That's the longest one.
Yeah. So what's typical?
I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
so
please.
we've got a client that's in agricultural packaging.
Yeah.
So they bring in raw goods from the field, wash it, clean it, pack it, send it out.
Yeah.
Right? The initial line they gave us as a pilot, they produced 3.9 million pounds the year before we went into the plant. It took 3 shifts a day, 5 days a week, plus 77 weekend shifts to produce that 3.9 million pounds. The 12 months after we left, after we were gone, they did 4.9 million units, ran first shift 5 days a week, second shift 2 days a week, no third shift, and no weekends.
Can you share, like, how? What happened there? I mean, come on, that's significant.
We evolve people. You're not trying to change culture, you're trying to evolve it. So what we do is we evolve people to no longer accept defects at their line. So if procurement is sending you a defect, you send it back. And then we put in processes to make sure it never shows up to the line. And then we solve issues within the line. We work with the team. So when we went into this particular line, our observations, they were having some crashes of product. And the machine was, we'll just say, ramming something too hard and smashing something. So we talked to all the operators and maintainers, and one of the maintainers said, yeah, it's been doing that since we installed this other line. The plant air is fluctuating. Okay, great. Did you put a receiver in? Well, I recommended that, but they didn't want to spend the money. Really? All right, well, let's put the receiver in. Put the receiver in. $1,100, the line purred like a kid.
$1,100.
$1,100. The second line we did there, we took from an OEE of 45% to an OEE of 80%. It only reached 80 because we started starving the line because of other problems upstream in the plant. Couldn't get any higher. We spent $3,000 in materials to solve that line's problem.
See,
it's never the equipment.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I in the world of agriculture, you're still subject to the field. That's a physical reality out there.
Yes.
Some are, producing more products per acre or whatever. So you still have that natural reality of nature.
Right. You have yield and quality. Right?
Yeah.
So, yep. Yeah.
But then these individuals, what happened if they couldn't process the 4 million whatever, and the delta is 1 million. Mm-hmm. Did that product go some other place? Or where did it just rot? Or
No.
is it?
Well, they increased by 1.1 million,
Yeah.
right, on that particular line. And had they had enough to sell, or a big enough sales staff, or, selling to more stores, they could have maxed out capacity at 11 million that year. So we took them from 3.9 million, including weekend shifts, to the capability of 11 million with no weekends.
Now, the final question, because I can keep on going. From that scenario, what is that expectation of that line? Can it get to 11 million? Or
Oh, yeah.
It can.
Oh, yeah.
So there's still plenty of room
Yes.
for significant gain.
Right. What we do is pressure sales. Like, what we do for a living is create, instead of it being the plant telling sales, well, this is all we can produce, so don't sell
isn't that
anymore.
interesting?
We take a plant to a point where sales has to go do harder work.
Yeah.
Go work harder, because there's factories make rubber dog crap and that sells. So go sell your product, because there's capacity in the plant, right?
Oh, isn't that an interesting perspective? I've never thought of it that way. I bet your sales really don't appreciate that, maybe. But they're making more money. Come on.
Right. I mean, your cost. They had an entire company goal of reducing cost to produce by 3 cents. On that one line, we dropped at 24.
Say that again.
The entire company goal
Yeah.
of cost to produce reduction was 3 cents. On that one line, we dropped at 24.
No way.
Yes.
Come on.
Agreed to by their finance. It was a requirement for our bonus. So if they didn't do it, believe me, we wouldn't have got paid.
Stunning. Yeah, that's just, what's the pushback? There can't be any pushback.
Oh, there's lots of pushback. Most of it human related, meaning folks,
of course, it's always human related.
Egos getting away.
Always.
Leadership changes happen. We've had a client where we've handed them 9 million units a year. They had a leadership change, and the first act was, we don't need outside services.
Jeez. People. That's why everybody's trying to go to robots.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Scott.
It's
Thank
always.
you.
How do they get a hold of you there?
You can hit us up at ask@reliabilityx.com. You can call 877-RLBLTYX, or go to our website, www.reliabilityx.com.
Yeah, he's said it a couple of times before in the past. As you can tell, it just rolled right off his tongue. He's amazing. That is George. You need to reach out to it. All the contact information is going to be out on Industrial Talk, as well as all the information with SMRP.org. Get engaged. George says that if you are in the reliability world, you need to be a part of it 1,000%. That is a definite yes on SMRP. By the way, they're right next to me. That's right there. Anyway, we're broadcasting from SMRP 31, and it is a great event. Put this on your calendar for next year, because it is happening in 2024. They have all the other information out there. Go out to it, smrp.org. All right, we're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
George never disappoints. That team at ReliabilityX, they've got something special going on there. And if you have any, I like the fact that he focuses, and Team ReliabilityX focuses on people, processes, and system. Because I have many conversations around that sustainable component associated with that reliability focus. For organizations, it makes complete sense, but it's always just difficult to sustain it seems like. But if you're focused on people, processes, and systems, I think that's a recipe for success. ReliabilityX doing a great job. Look at, all the contact information will be out there. So look into ReliabilityX. All right. Industrial Talk is here for you to amplify your voice, to tell your story. Go out to Industrial Talk and tell your story, because we want you to succeed. You get to collaborate with people like George and others. It's time. So be bold, be brave, dare greatly. I say it all the time. Hang out with George, change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly.